everybody, I'm Mr. Wargaming. This is my buddy Biscotti here to teach you a little something about video editing, at least as it pertains to the niche within a niche of internet videos on YouTube about miniature war games and what you can do to kind of up your game a little bit if you want to get into this. It's not as hard as you might think. Now, in the past, I've already done a video on what your lighting setup might look like. I've got these fancy guys on arms that swing and they allow me to get the light where I need it to. We've talked a little bit about proper sound and how we don't really do that so well here in the House of Wargaming. We have a fairly quiet place, but you hear the chickens and people are pretty cool, man. People go, yeah, you live in the country, there's going to be chickens. Not a big deal. They won't be too upset if the focus cuts in and out on your channel. I think I need to hold my head completely steady right here. Of course, my setup is really built for the table because here in the House of Wargaming, it ain't about me. It's about the games. It's about what you see on the table. But if you want to get into this, couple little words of advice. Don't stress out about all of this stuff, okay? If you're an interesting person that can tell a good story, you can get away with just filming yourself in the car. That's huge over there on the TikTok. And some of my favorite role-playing game, what would you call them? I wouldn't want to call them pundits for obvious reasons, but the pontificators, the theorizers, the guys that have interesting stories to tell you, they'll just sit in their car. They'll just take a selfie for 2 minutes and tell you a brief little story. It's great. You can get away with that here. There's a channel run by a guy named Charles Latorra, friendly grandfather chap. His voice may be a little off-putting to some, but to me, he just sounds like granddad, so I love it. He turns his camera on, or his phone, and he points it at the table, and he just says, here's the orcs, here's what happened, here's what we're doing tomorrow, here's, it's great. That's all you need to do. That's all you got to get away with. But what if you want to start playing around with things like camera angles? If you want to do a zoomed out shot and then zoom in tight to show where the action is and to get maybe a little tabletop view, a view from the miniature's eye, how do I take all of those videos and bash them together to make one well-edited video? And the answer from my perspective is I'm not really sure. I'm new at this too. I'm not a video editing guy. I don't have a whole team of guys. I do have a team. You're looking at it right here. This is my editing team and this is my editing suite. A couple of other things to be aware of. There are a lot of different video packages that you can get. I spent like $25 on mine 5 years ago and it's still running great. There was an old, if you have one of the older Microsoft machines, there's a thing called Windows Video Movie Maker, and it's free. It comes with the system. I don't have it on mine, and it's literally just a drag and drop system. If you're smart enough to wargame, you're smart enough to video edit. But let's go ahead and shift our focus down to the screen, and we'll see if I can figure out. Now, I gotta warn you, this is me getting outside of my comfort level. I'm doing the same thing that you will if you decide to take this route. I've never done a screen capture where all you can see moving is my mouse and paired it up with my voice cracking wise the whole time he kind of explains to you what to do. So if this is a little rough around the edges, forgive me. I'm not a how-to make video editing kind of guy. You could probably go look. There's probably like in the things down here that the YouTube algorithm recommends. Check them out. They're going to give you a lot more help. But, I'm a known quantity. You can trust me. I'll do the best I can. We'll get through it together. It turns out my editing software package can do a screen cap, and it uses the inboard microphone that I use for my Teams meetings to record the sound. It's not a bad sound. It's good enough for government work. It's good enough for wargame work. The problem is it can't see itself. It doesn't think that you ever want to show people how to edit videos, because that's a weird thing that apparently few people want to do. So we're doing this. If you see the weird striations and the focus is off a little bit, it's because I have my camera pointed at the screen. It's the best I can do with what I got. But you should be able to follow along reasonably well. Most of these packages look generally the same. This is your preview window where the videos will pop up. This is where your media is stored and where there's some functionality we'll look at. And then this is the timeline. So we're going to drop a video down here on the timeline. And I've already recorded from my camera. And so this is the first clip I want to use. I'm going to just bring it down and drop it in the timeline. See how easy that is? You can grab multiple and you just bring it down and drop it on the timeline. Now there's 2 different layers here. And if you've done any image editing, then you know how this works. And it's a little bit backwards. In my brain, the one that's on top should be on top as you look at the screen. It's actually backwards in this video software suite. For the record, see the little magics up here? I don't think you can actually, and it might not even work out. It's MAGIX. This is called Movie Edit Pro 2020. And like I said, $25, $30. So now you can see, here's the preview of where we're at in our video. So we have 3 clips, and we'll make them flash yellow. 1, 2, 3. And it even tells us how long each of these clips are. This one is about 8 minutes. This one goes from about 9 to 14. So our total video is going to be about 23 minutes. Then you guys know what my videos look like to start with. So we go all the way to the start. And I've started video. Now take a look. See, here's the player's handbook sitting on the table. And if we start it, now I don't want that stuff. This is where it starts, right here. Kadoom, right? So, but it takes time to start recording and then go do that. So we want to zoom in, and it's the same way you zoom in on any kind of image or document. There's a zoom functionality up here, but I just hold the control key down and use my mouse wheel. And now this shows me right where, see the little clips there? It's almost like a little cartoon. So I can pick the part I want. I just cut it, that little clip, and I delete it. And now the first couple of seconds of my video are blank. I can drag it over if I want to start there. But of course, I don't want to start there because I always start with one of these inboard. Now we got some extra functionality. This is where you find things like subtitles. We can bring a subtitle down here. And depending on which package you're using, it might look different. But I wanted to bring one of these in, and we'll type something in there. Lorem ipsum sic transit gloria mundi. And once we're done typing that in, boop, boop, it will appear like magic down here. See, you can't really see it. So depending on the software package, I'm going to make it really big so you can see it. And then in this magics, it even lets me change the color using a fun little color wheel somehow. So if we go to yellow, yeah, so there you go. See the big lorem ipsum? And this is what I was talking about. If you have this down below, then it will appear on top of the video. But I don't need to use those. You might see these pop up sometimes. I'm going to delete that. You might see those pop up when I make a mistake. Instead, what I want to do is come to this template over here. And one of the other things they have are intros and outros. You can play around with this, pick the one you like. I, of course, chose the one that has the hexagons on it. So this is going to do a lot of functionality for me. There's a lot of little layers in here that all go into that sweet, familiar sound, right? And then it automatically segues. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Look how good that looks. Except in this case, I have to highlight where the text is because I don't want it to say intro. I want it to say the joy of wargaming. And I can change the size of that. I can change the actual placement. I can change the font by using these standard pull-down menus. And this time around, I think we'll go ahead and use the standard Hawaiian punk array. And then we can pick what it is. And so all the little like flashes and stuff, that's all buried in here. I just pulled this as a template directly from the video editing package. For me, because I'm a busy guy, I'm not going to worry about all the fancy stuff, but I can select right here and I can kind of scrub through the video. So if I need to find a place where I wave my hands to indicate that I want to put one of those fancy little image packages. And by the way, if we want to put a little, these extra layers are useful because if we want to put a image, so let's go with OPR, and here's a nice little table shot. I like that. I'm going to put it in my video. I scroll in and you can see it appears on top. I can use some of this functionality to, which one is it? Here we go, size position. So when I select that and I'm hovering on it, now I can grab the sides of the boxes and I can make a little thing appear there. That takes a lot of time, but it can be satisfying to have a full video. I don't want to wreck my video that I haven't fully seen yet. So then the question is, what about our segues? And that's how our transitions from one clip to the next. If you wanted a little blank space, so the first thing we look at is trolls, giant frogs, and whatnot. Talk to that guy. Show up. Okay, now we got a couple of minutes at the end, so we just do the same thing. I'm going to clip that end off. I'm going to delete it, and then I need to drag this other one, and I say, what does the starting point look like? After putting it all together, not too bad. So I can drag this over, and you'll see a nice smooth transition.
10 that are escorting the wagons back and forth all the time. The other 10 are kind of riding around patrolling, making sure that...
But you can hear that they're talking over each other. It's way too slow. So all I have to do is bring it to here, and it'll happen. Just slide this one over, and I'll turn the sound back on.
Putting it all together, I wind up, and frogs and whatnot show up. After putting it all together, I wind up...
Now, you might want a little slow transition just to help the viewer understand that we're moving on to a new phase. Just ease them into that. I use the standard, by and large, I just use the standard... I don't even know what this is called. It just transitions gently from one to the other. But in this case, you can choose how to change that as well. I can make it blurry, and we'll make it really long so you can see. I'm going to mute it too, just so you don't have to listen to me talking at you 3 times. See how it does the weird blur thing? And you may want to do that for spell effects. But it's a bit much for me. In fact, maybe we'll leave this on as an Easter egg for people that discover this video after they discover this video. We'll let that focus a little bit better, and then we'll just check the timing on it. And I find that it's best to go by the sound.
After putting it all together, I want...
So you want just that little breath.
Show up.
See that? That's it. And there you
putting
go.
It all together, I wind up with stat.
We do that one more time for this third one, and then we can talk a little bit about
having you in it.
How you actually produce the video.
Keep it out for...
So what is he saying? Keep an eye out
for the battle of the dudes versus the frogs. Till next time, I'm praying for you.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, so it's good that we did a little QC there, because this one has to transition in here. And see how I just move those around? It's just like playing with Lincoln Logs. It's just like playing with Legos, just electronic.
Wagons back and forth all the time. So the other 10
get the timing right.
Trolls, giant frogs, and whatnot. So let's take a look.
Yeah, a little too tight. So we're doing this live. We're doing it live, people. We're good. What did we want to do? We wanted to do blurry, slightly radially shifted, and again, the first time people see that, they're going to be like, "What is he doing? That's bizarre."
To start off, but this process.
All right, so that's the time it takes me to move my hand to stop the video.
Stat blocks that look like this for the
I wonder why
it's 6 inches.
So blurry.
Reasonable. They're
turn a little more light on it. Right, we experiment. Sometimes things don't work, so you just try them again.
After putting it all together.
So we'll listen to that one more time. This is so stimulating. This is probably going to be one of my worst watched videos ever, but that's okay, because we have the kind of channel where we're not always interested in the biggest numbers. You know, the 5 guys who have been curious about this for a long time are absolutely going to love this video. Then, of course, at the end,
frogs. Till next time, I'm praying for you.
I just do a slow fade to black, and we're good. All right, now the big thing here we got to think about is it's time to actually produce the video. We'll save it just so we don't lose all of our hard work. And I think it took me 10 minutes to do all of that, which isn't bad for here it says here, 22-minute video. The video you're watching now probably going to wind up being closer to 18 to 20 minutes. I don't know, because I won't know until I'm done with my editing. Be that as it may, the next thing we do is, now it's not ready yet. All we've done is prepared the puzzle pieces. We still need to render it. And that's where your computer takes all of the internal knowledge, all of the stuff that it did down here, and it dumps it out into a particular package. Now for YouTube, I have found the best thing to do is to go to, well, first of all, we're going to export that movie. And so then we're going to export it as an MPEG-4. And again, I highly encourage you to go Google smarter people than Mr. Wargaming. He's a miniature wargamer, not a video guy. But what I've found works best for me is video as MPEG-4, and then it gives you all kinds of information that says, oh, it's 1920 by 1080, p, and then what's all, and largely I don't even think about that. I just say, okay, go ahead, just do it. All right, and then you'll see another window pop up here, and it's going to take, it says here it's going to take 147 frames of rendered, and eventually it'll tell you it's going to take me about 30 minutes to render this. So I try to do this at the end of the day. That way I can just let it grind while I'm asleep. It's going to take about the same to upload into YouTube. But that's really all there is to it. It's just these little building blocks that you move up and down, and you space them and you kind of tweak them to overlap so you get a nice smooth transition. And that's all it is. Whatever package you wind up with, the preview screen may be over here instead, and all of your media over there, or this might be on top. And in fact, you can even move these around. I can't do it now because it's rendering, but if you prefer to have your preview down here and your tracks up here, you can do that. These are very powerful software packages, and thanks for sticking along, guys. I know there wasn't a whole lot of jokes and stuff. I know this is really more of a low rent how-to. There's probably like 100 videos of guys from the Indian subcontinent that are willing to show you how to do this with like long, weird shaped fingers. And you know, they're smart guys. I'm not criticizing them. They're very helpful. They're kind of the YouTube equivalent of forum posts. When I work on my car and I have some weird, bizarre issue, I always find a forum from like 2003 where my question has already been answered. And all of this like techie stuff, it seems like the YouTube 3 minutes. Most of the dude bros doing it like to start out with, hey, yo, here, brought to you by, here's 6 minutes of me clowning in front of the camera. I'm just like, bro, my system crashed. I just need to know how to like clear my cache before the wife comes home. You know what I'm talking about? Not me. I got protection from the demons. And I'm praying that you got protection as well. I'm going to battle for you. There you go. And then the whole uploading thing. Again, you're a miniature wargamer. If you can understand how to put this together, you can figure out how to put this together. It's really not that intimidating. And again, people are really forgiving. Just, be open, honest at the beginning. Hey, I'm not great at this. We're going to get through this together. Have some interesting stuff to say. Crack a few jokes. Maybe crack a few drinks. I'm not judging. Till next time, I'm praying for you.